Alright guys, today I'll be giving you my top 10 flat rides that I've experienced as of March 2023. Now, a few disclaimers, I will be lumping together clones or rides that are very similar because I want to free up space for other rides, and I do not include drop towers, dark rides, water rides, anything like that. I consider those their own other thing, even drop towers. So without further ado, let's get into the list. At the number 10 spot, I've got Tip Top at Sylvan Beach. There's also a bunch of clones all over the place, but the one I've ridden and the only one I've seen is at Sylvan Beach. This is actually a pretty rare flat ride, so if you see it, get on it, because it's amazing. If you love teacup rides like me, this is amazing. It's definitely the best teacup ride I've done. The tubs are really easy to spin, plus the platform actually bounces up and down, like during random parts of the ride. So out of nowhere, you'll be spinning out of control. It's really intense, and then out of nowhere, you just get popped out of your seat, and it's so fun. I mean, it's not crazy ejector or anything, but still, any airtime when you're spinning that fast is crazy, especially when you don't know it's going to come. So yeah, Tip Top is definitely a must if you're at Sylvan Beach or if you see it anywhere. At the number 9 spot is the New England Sky Screamer at Six Flags New England. This Star Flyer is kind of scary. This is one of the few rides I've actually been scared on, given the first time I went on it, I was like 8. This past time I went in 2022, it was also a really good experience. It's not the longest ride, but it doesn't need to be. The time you're up there, 400 feet in the air, with pretty much just a seatbelt holding you in is crazy. It's about as freeing of an experience you're going to get up that high. The speed's good. The wind in your face is unreal. I mean, it's just a good flat ride. The only thing that keeps it from being higher is, besides the wind in your face and the speed and the thrill level from being that high up, there's really no true standout forces. Like, there's no real good positives, airtime, anything like that. So that's why it's not higher. At the number 8 spot is Mind Warp at Martin's Fantasy Island, now Niagara Amusement Park. I rode it back when it was Martin's, obviously, because it's not there anymore. It's now a set of flyers. But this thing was great. It was a frisbee ride. It went all the way around. And usually those types of frisbees aren't my thing. But this thing had seats that unlock, kind of like a Pegasus, which we'll get to in a bit. But when the seats are unlocked, which was very rare, I only got one ride with the seats unlocked, but that was a crazy ride, let me tell you. It was so unpredictable, and it only lasted for like a portion of the ride, but still, the portion of the ride where it lasted was crazy. So because of that ride, I have to put it up here, but just know that if we were going off by the normal experience where it's your normal inverting frisbee ride, it's nothing too crazy, so it wouldn't make the top 10 without that crazy ride I had with the seats unlocked. But if you find a ride like this with the seats unlocked, then you're in for a treat. At the number 7 spot is Delusion on, I guess, the State Fairgrounds. I rode it at the New York State Fair. This is that Pegasus I was talking about. It's got similar flipping seats to Mind Warp, although these ones actually work every time, unlike Mind Warp's, and it's crazy. It doesn't like go all the way upside down, but it kind of reminds me more of a Top Scan in its motions, and I don't think it's quite as crazy as the Top Scans, but it's definitely still a crazy ride. I think it was running a bit slow when it was at New York State Fair, but still, it was amazing. The flipping was out of control. There were like not really airtime pops, but kind of like inverted airtime pops, I guess, if that makes any sense. Like when you were rocking back and forth. I didn't really get many positives on this. I didn't find it to be the most intense ride out there, but it was chaos, so it gets a high spot on this list. At the number 6 spot is Skyhawk at Canada's Wonderland. This is the first of many rides, actually it's the second, but it's the second of many rides on this list that you control the experience, you determine how good it's going to be. And this one definitely has a bit of a learning curve. you definitely have to practice it a bit to learn the technique of how to go all the way around constantly. But once you learn that technique and you just start flipping, it's crazy. I will say the technique is kind of hard to get down, especially if you're lighter, because the wings are actually pretty heavy. So if you're lighter or don't really have much muscle, like, it could be difficult. But I mean, it's a good workout even for me. You kind of have to lean into every side a bit, like, and then once you start rotating, just keep leaning to that side. And it's a crazy experience, especially since you're pretty high up while you're flipping. So yeah, this is definitely a must ride at Canada's Wonderland and any other park that has this model. At the number 5 spot are the Zamperla Giga Discoveries, and you can throw the normal Discoveries in here too. And this is specifically the Zamperla ones. They do by far the best frisbees. On those max swings, you're getting crazy airtime. I mean, obviously, it's not like El Toro level, but it's still amazing for a flat ride. You're spinning throughout, so you'll get a ton of different airtime, actually. And you get great positive Gs on the downswings. This is an amazing ride. Plus, I feel like the restraints give a bit of room. I don't know if that's just me or something, but I don't know. I like the restraints on this. They're not too bad. So at the number 4 spot is the Booster that was at the New York State Fair. I don't even know how many years ago now. It's been a hot minute since this thing has been at the New York State Fair, and I really want to come back, but I don't know. I guess I'll have to go off the memories from basically pre-COVID. So take everything I say with a grain of salt because, yeah, it's been a while, but these things are crazy. I don't remember getting airtime, but just the fact that you invert that high off the ground is amazing. I remember there being great positives. I don't remember the restraints being too restrictive or anything. So, I mean, the only thing bad about it was the capacity. The capacity was terrible, like one of the worst rides of all time for capacity. It sat 4 people max, actually 8, because you had the top and bottom. It loaded like a Ferris wheel, but still 8 people max. That's terrible. You do not want that anywhere. But still, I thought it was fun, but I didn't think it was quite out of control as the next 3 rides. So at the number 3 spot is the Top Scans, basically the Cedar Fair ones and the one I rode at the New York State Fair, again, all those years ago. But the Cedar Fair ones are pretty fresh in my mind. They include great laterals, actually. I remember the laterals being really sustained just throughout the entire ride. The laterals were probably the best part, if I'm being honest. The flipping was great and out of control and all, but I felt like it was missing an edge to it. And I feel like that's what the European Fair Top Scans have. Because if you've seen a video of like Skater or something, oh my god, that looks like the best flat ride in the world probably. But unfortunately, we can't get that back in the US. So, I mean, these Cedar Fair ones are pretty good too. They are my 3rd favorite flat ride after all. And similar to some of the other rides on this list, like Delusion, there's little pops of airtime, like as you're rocking back and forth. So just the overall craziness of this ride, plus the laterals, gives it the number 3 spot on this list. Now we've reached the top 2, and coming in at the number 2 spot is actually 2 rides that could have gotten 2 separate spots, but I decided to lump together. This is the Seabreeze Flyers and the Knoebels Flyers. Now, obviously, the Knoebels one is better than the Seabreeze one, but I actually don't think it's very far off. And I actually might get higher with the Seabreeze one just because I practice it so much. I ride it like 5 times every day when I go to Seabreeze, which is a lot in the season. So I'm really good with the Seabreeze Flyers. I know exactly what technique to use, if the wind's coming in, like how hard to snap it. The Knoebels ones, like, I have the technique and everything, but it's a bit different because you're going a different direction, plus the wind's not as aggressive as at Seabreeze. But obviously it's way easier to snap. Those things are ridiculous. I mean, if you've seen a video of those, if you've seen a video of someone snapping properly on the Knoebels ones, it looks downright dangerous. But if you've seen my video on how to snap on flyers, then you know how to snap. You know how crazy these rides can be. It's like nothing else pretty much. There's no like crazy positives or anything, but just the re-rideability, and I mean, it's the definition of an addicting ride, because I mean, it's different every time. You can get better with every ride, and it's extremely fun if you get like the tub rocking back and forth and you're just flying. You got the wind in your face, especially at Seabreeze. So these rides are extremely fun, but coming out on top is Rocco Plains at Sylvan Beach and other fairs and parks and whatever. A lot of you are probably scratching your head right now as to how the Rocco Plains are number one out of everything. I mean, the way most people do it, the best it's going to be is like a super loop if you use the normal technique. But if you use my technique, yeah, this thing's disgusting. It's going to ruin all sense of direction. And it might be the most intense ride in the world if you use my technique, actually. So basically what you do is you just rock back and forth. You throw your weight forward, throw your weight backward. You keep doing that until you eventually start front flipping. And you just keep that up the entire time. And it gets to you, let me tell you. This is by far the most intense flat ride out there if you use my technique. Because especially in the valleys, I don't know how many G's that pulls, but it can't be safe to like the normal person. I don't even know how many times I could do that without like passing out or something, like flipping like that in the bottom. And even as you're just going around, it's like nothing else. Trust me. If you use this technique on a Rocco Plains, let me know how it goes. Let's see if you can last the whole time. I know I got well over 200 flips in one ride last time I went, so that was crazy. I couldn't walk straight in the slightest, and I'm pretty resistant to rides. Like, I don't get dizzy or sick or anything, but yeah, I was wrecked after this thing. So that's my top 10 flat rides that I've experienced. I have some pretty unpopular opinions, obviously, but just trust me on them. Let me know what you guys think of this down in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.